Every student's dream is to soar high in school, but unfortunately, not everyone achieves that. Why is that so, and why should it be so in your case? You need to be a smart student to soar high with flying colors in your academics. To help you achieve academic success by grooming you into a smart student, Dr. Ehonia Obed brings to you the Smart Student Podcast, a podcast focused on revealing all the secrets that various successful students have used to complete school with the best of results, how they were able to combine the academics with other aspects of their lives, and many more. Stay tuned and get ready for exceptional insights.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Smart Student Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ehonia Obed. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through how to study to become a smart student. As a smart student, anytime that you take your books to study, you are supposed to have certain objectives. To me, I have been doing this for a long time and I've come up with two main objectives that guides my studies. And today I want to share with you those two objectives. The first one is to study to understand concepts. So the first objective that you should set when you are studying is to be able to understand the concept that is being taught in the particular course or subjects that you are learning. Then the second one is to study for examination. You may bear with me that studying for exams may be different from the ordinary period of point in time when you are just studying to understand things. So at any point in time when you pick a book to study, make things clear. Declare your objectives. Are you studying to understand a concept or you are studying for exams purposes? Let me take you further. So when it comes to studying to understand concepts, obviously when you begin school, when the school starts, whether it's a term, a semester, or a trimester, whatever it is, once you begin, you may not necessarily have an exams ahead of you. And therefore, the very few weeks or months within the semester, trimester, or term that you find yourself, you have enough time at hand. So the first objective of studying to understand concepts comes in when you have enough time. Then the second objective comes in when you're hard pressed with time. That is when you are preparing towards an exam. So when it comes to studying to understand concepts, everyone has their own way where what exactly they will have to do in order to understand concepts. For some people, they has to be taught, as in some people believe or it's their practice that for them to understand concept, they have to let some of their colleagues teach them before they understand. For some others too, they have to read several books. Okay, so it is actually a bit different for everyone. Therefore, I would admonish you to try and find out how best you learn in order to understand concept. Some of you have always stuck to the idea of memorizing things for exams. All right, so memorization has its role when it comes to studying, especially when you are training in some institutions where most of the questions are direct from certain handouts or from certain textbooks. So memorization has its own place in your studies. But even before memorization comes in, the understanding is the most important thing. Most of the time when you sit to study, especially when it is not for exams per se, then you need to focus on understanding the concept. Okay, so I've mentioned maybe in a subsequent episode, I will walk you through exactly how to learn to understand the concept to give you a practical scenario on how to break down things in order to understand the concept. But you have to be able to establish when you are learning to understand concepts and when you are learning for the purpose of examination. Unfortunately, I happen to be one of those people who struggles to memorize things. And you may also be saying, yes, I'm also like that. I find it difficult to memorize things. Yes. So when I was in first year in the university, there was once that one of our teaching assistants passed a statement that knowledge is remembrance. meaning if you don't remember, then you don't know. At that time, I didn't really agree with him. But now, when I look back on it, I realize that when you are in school, especially when you are learning to write exams and do well, get the best of results, become the smartest student, or be part of the smart students in class, then knowledge is remembrance for you. Currently, as I am out of school, I've come to appreciate that knowledge is not just about remembrance, but it goes way beyond remembrance. But since you are in school fighting for grades in order to become a smart student and excel at your academics, I would reiterate that point that my teaching assistant told me that indeed for now, keep it at the back of your mind that knowledge is remembrance. If you don't remember, you don't know. Because when you sit behind the exams paper, if you don't remember exactly what you are being asked to reproduce, then it means you don't know. And at the end of the day, you are going to get it all wrong. Therefore, as a student, in fact, as a smart student, it is very important for you to be able to remember the things that you study. But one interesting thing that I found out is that even though I'm not very good at memorizing things, anytime I understand things, I'm able to remember them very well. So you may also find yourself in a similar shoe, but I trust me that when you understand a concept, it's easy for you to remember. Even when you understand, if you understand a concept before you memorize, it even becomes way better because the moment you forget, you can always recall based on your understanding. All right. There are times that I have forgotten formulas that I crammed, but because I understood the principles, the first principles behind the derivation of the formulas, there were times that I had to derive the formulas whilst I was in the exams room, and it was just great because I understood the concept. Okay, so what I am admonishing you right now is that from this moment onwards, anytime that you take your book to go and study, establish your objective for that study moment. Are you studying to understand a concept, or you are studying to go and write exams? If you have a long time to till exams comes up, then it's best you study to understand the concept. All right. If there is no time and you are just preparing for the exams, then you have to quickly skim through or do what you would do to remember things for the exams. So in subsequent episodes, I'll talk more about how to work with each of these objectives. But for now, all that I want you to appreciate is that at any point in time when you want to learn, choose the specific objectives that you are going to use. Are you learning to understand, or you are learning to go and write exams? Especially when you are learning to go and write exams, don't forget that knowledge is remembrance. If you can't remember, then you don't know. I hope you have learned something in today's episode, and this is going to help you in your academics. I look forward to you becoming a smart student and performing very well in class. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this exciting episode of the Smart Student Podcast. Check out the next episode and share it with your friends. Do well to subscribe and leave a like on the episode, or comment your thoughts or questions on this episode.